The Club World Cup has run its course. It has ended, and that is important news for us here in the United States and throughout the world. I'm going to discuss all those important factors here today on the Soccer OG. Please like and subscribe the channel. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. I'm open for discourse, whether you want to talk about the Club World Cup, MLS, U.S. Men's National Team. I am here for you, and I enjoy the conversations. And help us grow as we're getting towards the World Cup. So appreciate everyone tuning in. Love chatting with you guys. So I have three big pots to discuss about the Club World Cup. And the big one about what it means for the World Cup, which we will be hosting here this summer. First, the competition itself. Really good final. I mean, it wasn't as entertaining as we would have liked or as competitive, but great atmosphere at MetLife Stadium, big showpiece event, everything and everyone coming out. It felt like a huge deal, which is what's going to feel like in a year's time. I was questionable about MetLife. It's still not my favorite venue, but that felt like if we had that a year from now on the national team stage, I'll be all right with it. It was a good way to wrap up this tournament, which had a lot of positives. As for the final, Chelsea beating PSG is significant. And I'll start with PSG. If they win this tournament, we have to have that conversation, whether you want to or not, of whether this is the best club we've ever seen, because they ripped through the Champions League, beat everyone and anyone, and then they did the same thing here in the Club World Cup. They lost to Botafogo, and then they beat the heavyweights. You know, they had to get by Bayern, they had to get by Real Madrid. They were in the toughest group. PSG, we could have expected after winning the Champions League, they would have had a bit of a downer, but no, they wanted to send a message. They were locked in, and you could see the passion at the end of that game with all the argy-bargy, etc., that PSG knew that if they win this, the narrative changes, and no more Farmers League. And the Premier League and Real Madrid and Barcelona can't say, we're the best, because PSG says, we beat all of you guys. Well, now they can't say that. And now they have to regroup because Enzo Maresca's game plan really showed a way to play PSG. Part of what they did is they took everyone by surprise with this pressing and this beautiful midfield play. But they fell short here, and they fell short with a bang. So that is significant, and you have to give Chelsea more credit because of the opponent that they beat. Everyone picked PSG. I was expecting to talk to you today about a PSG triumph. As for Chelsea, they have been under the microscope with their ownership group, a Blue & Co. and the Clear Lake Capital Holding and all the jokes about Todd Bowley. And they can continue because the amount of money this team spent, over $1 billion in their transfers, it was a punchline. And here they are swimming in mediocrity, so to speak. They finish top four, so they get to the Champions League, and then they do this in this tournament. So the perception of Chelsea has changed. And while it can't cover the amount of money they have spent, they're going to bring in $125 million for this win. So that should cover the transfers of Liam Delap, João Pedro, and Estevao. And certainly with João Pedro, it looks like a player that could take him to another level. And Liam Delap and Estevao, I imagine, are probably going to help him in that process too. Part of what Chelsea did was signing young players and signing them for long-term contracts. So, all of a sudden, this looks like a very appealing team moving forward. Again, they're still in the red, but they have to be feeling good. This is a proof of concept moment. Hey, we spent all this money and we just won this tournament against the best of the best from around the world. So, Chelsea winning it, I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Very interesting development with regards to what they can do and what big money can spend. And money is really the big factor in this new era of competitions. It's just the way it is, and I'll get to that in a moment. As for the Club World Cup, I look forward to seeing it again. I enjoyed it thoroughly. There were a lot of complaints, and I will start with this. Nobody complained more than Chelsea about the schedule, about the too many matches, about the surface, about the heat. And they went on and won it. Maybe it was all a smokescreen, but they complained and they complained. Enzo Maresca, Enzo Fernandez, everyone complained. And then they won it. So take that for what it's worth. But I found that interesting. I mean, because I remember Atletico Madrid got knocked out and they complained about the heat. And I go, okay, sore losers. Chelsea won this. It's all there. And there are too many games. But the Club World Cup is so much better than other stuff on the schedule. So I want to keep it. And I hope the world of football can trim the schedule in some areas, whether it's Nations League, whether it's the Gold Cup, I don't know. But some of these things that could allow a good process going from the Club World Cup to the World Cup. We saw it this past month. The World Cup's amazing, and the whole country comes together to support for their team. But what we saw here, and certainly reinforced it, supporting your club is different. Supporting your club is much more personal than your national team, as crazy as that might sound. You wake up, if you're a Boca Juniors fan or you're a Bayern fan, and that's what you're thinking about. You check what's going on, whether they're in the season or out of the season, who they're going to sign. You don't do that with your national team. It is constant. Your connection to your club supersedes your connection to your national team. We get ramped up about the national team a few weeks here and there. But if you are immersed into a club, that is your baby. And I understand when, like Boca, let's take Argentina for an example. All of Argentina is not going to be engaged in this unless you're a Boca and River fan. But there's that bait there where you could say these fans of other clubs would just say, I would love to participate in that. And I think that is something very special, and I think that's something we should connect to. And we really haven't until this. So for all the criticism, the Club World Cup allowed us a window into that. Probably a good point to point this out. I had the good fortune of spending some time in Seattle and recently in Philadelphia, which were big Club World Cup venues. I talked to folks around there. I talked to businesses. They were thrilled. The folks in Seattle with all the River Plate fans were going, this was amazing. I made a ton of money at my restaurant. It was fun to see these folks. The folks in Philadelphia with Palmeiras, they were over the moon. It's money into these cities. It's a fun view. I'm not going to pretend it can't go sideways. But generally, it was in good spirits, and we saw the best portrayal of these fans because they were there for their team. So that was a good outcome. The results, we saw the rest of the world compete. Al Hilal with that huge upset over Manchester City, the Brazilian teams. Palmeiras Chelsea quarterfinal, I thought Palmeiras had it, and this could have all changed. We would have had a Brazilian team in the final. So obviously we need the rest of the world to compete, and I felt we were pretty close to that. Now that said, when I say the rest of the world, I mean the rest of the world. And FIFA has a rule about limiting the amount of teams from each country that will participate in the Club World Cup. However, if you win the Copa Libertadores in South America, you're going. So 4 straight years, Brazilian teams won it. I predict we'll probably get something similar to that. The rest of South America can't compete with Brazil. We got lucky in Asia. Ulsan won the Champions League back in 2020. Al Ain won it last year. Urawa Red Diamonds. But the way Saudi football's going, you have to expect, and they just won it with Al Ahly a couple months ago, my guess is Saudi teams are probably going to win the Asian Championship all the time. In Africa, it's North African teams. It's Al Ahly, it is teams from Morocco and Egypt. We were lucky to get Mamelodi Sundowns, but generally speaking, the big money and the competitive teams are in North Africa. So I don't think we're going to get a good view of the world, which is a bummer. And we need that for this to do well. But my guess it's going to come down to European teams by and large. And if there's money behind it, then it will be successful. And this comes to the big topic about this. Sepp Blatter, and I think we should take everything that Sepp Blatter says with a grain of salt. He doesn't have a stool to sit on because his corruption and his mishandling put FIFA in this very difficult situation. But he said football has been lost to Saudi Arabia. And whether we should listen to Sepp Blatter or not, he is correct. The money is coming from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia was able to finance the Club World Cup. DAZN paid $1 billion for the rights, and that was part to help FIFA pay the prize money. FIFA as FIFA goes, they don't have the money to spend $1 billion on prize money. They're just not at that level. But with Saudi Arabia, they can do it. I think, I don't have the books in front of me, but I think FIFA's looking at their books and going, oh boy, we can't do this again. But with Saudi Arabia, we can. How do I feel about it? I don't feel super great. I do like the Club World Cup. I guess my philosophy is if Saudi has this money, might as well spend it on something I enjoy and pay clubs and pay players with their money. I guess I can get behind that. But we can't run from it. The money is taking this over. And I get, PSG is run by the QSI, a Qatari ownership group, and then Chelsea, by and large, by an American ownership group. But those where the money's at. But America can't compete with what's happening in the Middle East. I don't know. Again, I don't feel great about it, but if the Middle East, if they've spent money, they got the Qatari World Cup. In 2034, they're going to get the Saudi World Cup. I expect many more big events coming their way. So if that's how the Club World Cup happens, so be it. But without question, the only way it can happen year in, year out is with big prize money. So this was a dress rehearsal. There's no other way to call it for the World Cup. And we have some things to work on. And at the beginning of the Club World Cup, it was a laundry list. Complaints. And the complaints went on the whole time, and I couldn't take it anymore. It got me very bummed out. And I made me even think, do we even want to host the World Cup? People hate us because, we can't do this. And the idea of playing games earlier in the day. People say stop playing games at noon Eastern time or what have you, or 3 o'clock. You have to remember that the World Cup is boosted by broadcast deals. And you have to have these windows. You can't have 2 games at the same time unless they're in match day 3, which you got to have that for competitive reasons. You can't have 2 games in the evening. You've got to stagger them. And that means daytime games. I know Gianni Infantino was talking about maybe getting the games with roofs that are climate controlled to play earlier in the day. There's not enough of them to do it, but maybe they can be creative in some way, shape, or form. But I'm glad that they're talking about that. This wasn't a super hot summer. It was hot, but the complaining was way overboard. That said, it might be hotter next summer. It really could. We could have a crazy heat wave and could be in big trouble with this World Cup. So I understand that. As for the turnout, it wasn't spectacular, but by the end, it's good turnouts for these games. It's all going to be better for the World Cup. It's going to be a hot ticket and we're going to have a lot of visitors. I don't want to talk about the politics. I hope that doesn't get in the way here. President Trump was there at this Club World Cup final. He was on the trophy stage like he was going to get the trophy. I don't know what's going on. But hopefully what's happening now subside. It has to. Because I don't want a World Cup if we're like having a country like this. I don't. But the stadiums, we found, Charlotte is not a World Cup host. I don't think they are. They shouldn't be, based on what we saw here. MetLife is not my favorite choice, but it looked good in the final. And we have some good venues. We saw Seattle. We saw Philadelphia. We have some great places here. The surfaces is something to work on. While I hear the complaints and I'm worried, I could tell you this, that after this Club World Cup, it was important to have it. And now we can say that we have a vision as how this would look like. So thank goodness we had the Club World Cup. Next summer is going to be huge. I don't want to undermine it. I hope it goes off even better. The fact that we had this tournament will help facilitate that, and we'll see how it goes. Attendance is going to be fine, and we'll see about the heat. But again, the complaining's got to come down. But I'm glad we had a good tournament. It could have gone sideways, but it didn't. Soccer OG, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. We'll be back again here next week. Never a dull minute.